Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday, February 5th. We made it through the first week of February. Everybody's still here. Excellent. Friday, February 5th. That's a lot of F's there in that one. Friday, February 5th. Say that 5 times fast. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to be, first off, answer your bell ringer. Make sure all of them are answered throughout the week, because Fridays are the days where I go in and put stuff in, and you being at home does not make you exempt from that stuff, so make sure that you're still doing your stuff at home. What we are doing today, we're continuing on with our Survey Says Traits activity, so let's dive right into what you are doing today. So last night you filled out your family members' traits. You also had your own traits that you filled out. We're now going to the third page where we are going to do some class data collection. And what's going to happen with this is that you have this link to our class data. And what you'll find eventually, I still have to put in the names of everybody, but you're going to have your names over here towards the side. So let me see if Mrs. Ewing's put her names in. All right, so it'll look like this, where the names of people will be on the side here. You're going to find your trait, and for your name, and for each one of the traits over on the side here, you are going to put either 0 if 0 people in your, who you surveyed, that includes you and the other family member. If none of you had the dominant trait for the earlobes, you're going to put 0 down. If one person had the dominant trait, you're going to put a 1. If both of you had the dominant trait, you're going to put a 2. To know what is dominant versus recessive here, and we'll get into what those words mean in just a little bit, if you scroll up on your traits activity here, I have put in the very top of the page which one is dominant, which one is recessive. Because ultimately what we're going to find out is, are these traits truly dominant versus recessive? Because what dominant means is that it should be the one that's probably maybe the more common one, and we'll see if that's the case. Whereas recessive is going to be the ones that are more rare, and we're going to actually see if that is the case with our class data here today. Along the bottom of this, you have your different hours, so make sure you're clicking on the right one here. You got parrot 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8. You should find your name, and then whatever your name is, 0 people had it, put a 0. 1 person had it, put a 1. And then if 2 people had it, you'd put a 2. So it'd be 2, 0, or 1, 1, or 2, 0 would be your outcomes. You should never have to put a number higher than 2 down in your category. And as we go through, and as this starts filling up, the bottom row is going to be filling up as well with all of the stats, so we can get quick numbers of what is happening inside of our classroom. And what you're going to do with this bottom row of numbers when you have them, you are going to create a bar graph for me. I'll go through the data down here. And where it says the number of students dominant, this is where you can put that number down. Since you'll be at home, whatever is up there at the time that you look at it, kind of start using. Obviously, if you're an 8th hour and you're looking at it in the first hour time slot, like if you got on at 8 o'clock and you just had the hankering to do some science, your class's data isn't going to be up there yet, so you might have to wait until later on in the evening to do that, just because you won't have your class data available quite yet. But when you do, you'll go in here and you'll put in the information for the dominant and the recessive. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to create a bar graph. How you'll do that, give you a nice little walkthrough here of what you are going to do. So let me use my iPad for this. You are going to, I'll walk you through the steps of making a graph here. Need to add a new one. Let me move that away. All right, here we go. See, I'm going to use my iPad and be kind of bringing it back up. First thing that you do, we need to make our X and our Y axis. Now, we talked about making a graph very early on in the year. That was when we were doing the scientific method stuff. So you need to make a kind of an L-shaped line. On the x-axis, you're going to put the type of trait. And you'll have a little spot for the earlobes. I'm not going to write out all of them right now because it's just the example. Put a couple of them on there. You would label it as such. Type of traits on the bottom, lining it out. You'll have all 5 of those that we're choosing. We're specifically going with the earlobes, the dimples, the hairline, the bent peaky, and the Morton's toe because why not? Our school is named Morton, so we're going to take a look at that Morton toe thing there. On the y-axis, you're going to put the number of students. So we'll label the y-axis. That is the one that goes up and down. You see, you get number of students going on. Let me make myself more full screen here. Hey, there we go. Hey, there we go. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Oh, a little bit down. There we go. Number of students. And then I would say label your number line going by 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Because ultimately, we're going to have around, if everybody in the class is either all dominant or all recessive, the highest number that we would go to would be probably around 40, 42, 44, somewhere around there, depending on how many are in our class. That's not going to be the case. We're going to have people having both sides of the traits. So usually our numbers will probably hover around 30 to 20-ish to maybe in the teens and the tens. So with that being said, have some space for your numbers to go to. I'm going to say we're going to go to 14. And remember how we make our graph then? Let's say we had 13 people have dominant earlobes. And draw a bar. What did I say? 12 people. Let's go with 12 people had the dominant earlobes. Boom. Put a bar and go up to the number 12. Let's say we only had 8 people with the recessive earlobes. You're going to make another bar right next to that. Boom. Recessive going on with it. We'll make a key somewhere to know what color our lines represent. So in this case, we're going to have red equals recessive. And then green is going to be dominant for us. You need to know what type of key that you're doing. So then for each trait, we're going to have a dominant and recessive. We know that green is going to be dominant, red is going to be recessive. And then you do that same thing for all 5 of the traits that are there. Give it a nice little title. You can call it the survey of traits. You can add that up top. Boom. Yours will obviously be maybe a little bit more well organized than mine because I kind of scribbled it down as we were talking about stuff. But that'll make you a good bar graph there for everything. I'm going to shrink-a-dink myself back down. Bloop. There we go. And then you're going to add a picture of your graph right below. And that's it. If you remember, we used a website way back when we did scientific method. So if you want to use the online website, you can. If you just want to create one on a piece of paper or you want to draw it yourself on an app that you use, more power to you for that one. That's probably what we're going to do in class. We're going to get some graph paper out and graph them that way. It's probably going to be the easiest to do than try to remember how that website works, but that option is there if you remember how to do it. But otherwise, that's what we're doing today. So I hope you're staying safe. Submit it when you're done. Hope you're back with us next week for all our fun and excitement as we start diving into the world of genetics. So we're going to really get into it, what makes these traits tick, all that kind of good stuff. The graph will be officially due up on Monday. So hope you're staying safe. Hope you're doing well. Hope to see you back, honestly. It's so much better with you here in class than without. But I will see you later. Oh, if there's any questions, email me. That's a good one always to do if you have any questions whatsoever. If you want to meet during the class too, just email me saying that you want a link to meet, and then I will drop you in a meet link, and you can meet with the class if you want to. Just email that out, and I'll get that set up there for you. But without further ado, now that I said all that stuff, hope you're doing well. Hopefully see you next week. I'll see you later. Bye.